All right, welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. How we doing? The Olympic break is officially here. Hockey Sense brought to you by First Community. Do your banking, do it the right way with First Community. Find the best banking options you can find only with First Community. They also bring you the Little Blues program. Get your son or daughter signed up for Little Blues and do it today. But if you're looking for home loans, auto loans, bank accounts to help you save up for that family vacation, or the holiday shopping, even for next year. I mean, some people plan that far ahead, or how to handle all the expenses that you spent this past year during the holidays. Talk to a banking professional at First Community and do it today, firstcommunity.com. All right, so here we are. I mean, the Blues lose another one the other night against Dallas, heartbreaking fashion. Don't ask me to explain what's going on between the Blues and the Dallas Stars. I have no idea. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain what has happened to the St. Louis Blues this season. I mean, honestly, like, where does this rank among the most disappointing seasons in Blues history? Top 5, top 3? Is it the most disappointing? I mean, listen, there's been years where maybe they have worse records. And you could say, well, those seasons were worse. But did they come into those years with the level of expectation that the team had this year? Probably not. High expectations this year. The team certainly hasn't come close to meeting those, individually or as a team. You look at the way they're losing, it's not good any way you look at it. I mean, they lead the league in losses by 3 goals or more. They haven't been good in overtime or in the shootout. I think they're 1-9 in those games. Their record is bad when they score the first goal. No matter how the game goes, they just cannot find a way to get 2 points. If they do score the first goal, or if they have a lead, it just never seems to be safe. So this is where we're at. Let me say this, though. And you got to hear me out on this, because I know Blues fans are all disappointed. Listen, scrap the disappointment here for just 1 second. And just understand where things are at right now. You got a new general manager coming in Alexander Steen. I mean, this could be a dream come true for him if the Blues are able to land a top 2 pick. I mean, listen, based on where they're at right now, they have the second worst record in the NHL. So it's certainly possible that the Blues end up with the first overall pick. Nobody saw that coming this season. And if you want to compete for a Stanley Cup, I mean, you got to have a guy. Every team needs a guy, and the Blues don't have a guy. Edmonton has a guy. Pittsburgh has a guy. Chicago had a guy in Patrick Kane. They had Taves, obviously, but they won 3 Stanley Cups with that whole group. They got a guy now in Connor Bedard that they can build around. San Jose has a guy. Colorado has a couple of them. The Blues need a guy. Well, what's the point of finishing in a wild card position, losing in the first round, drafting near the 20th overall pick, and trying to start over again next year? St. Louis is up against it when it comes to signing free agents. It's just not probable, based on where we are in today's climate and our environment in our country. Free agents, they have a desire of where they want to go. Artemi Panarin, he's the latest example. He had all the leverage with the New York Rangers. He wanted to go to L.A., so they had to trade him to L.A. I know some people are saying, well, that's all they got. They could have gotten something better from somewhere else. He didn't want to go anywhere else, and he held all the cards. And he wanted to sign an extension, and he was able to do that with L.A. Other teams maybe were going to offer up a better extension or better options or a longer extension. But he held all the cards. He wanted to go to L.A., and now he's in L.A. I'm watching Florida and Tampa last night. Matthew Tkachuk, he wanted to go to Florida. He ended up in Florida. Calgary had no choice but to trade him to Florida. If they were going to get anything in return, Matthew Tkachuk held all the cards. He wasn't going to no team was going to give up everything that they were required to give up without knowing they had him locked up and he was going to sign an extension. He wanted to go to Florida. So you're starting to see where teams and where, I should say, players, where they want to go. They want to sign in Florida. They want to sign in Tampa Bay. They want to sign in L.A. maybe they want to go to an original six team. Occasionally, you might see a player who is from Ontario. It's his dream. Maybe he wants to go to Toronto. John Tavares as an example. But for the most part, it's the original six teams. It's the warm weather teams. It's the tax-free teams. Although Nashville is a team that they should be a top 3 destination in the NHL for any free agent. Previous ownership, from what I understand, talking to players. I hate to throw the word cheap around, but that's the term that players use when describing how things went in Nashville before. Maybe with the new ownership with Haslam and his group, things are going to change. By the way, a big shout out to Barry Trotz. Congratulations on a great career, if in fact he is going to retire, and that's what he's saying he's going to do. Thought it was interesting that Nashville announced in their press release, and maybe at the press conference too. I was in Nashville. I didn't go to the press conference. It conflicted with the Blues schedule, but that they have hired CAA, which is an agency that represents players. It represents coaches, too, in all sports. They've got several different divisions. But the NHLPA is looking into whether or not that is permissible. They're allowed to hire an agency to conduct the search for the next executive team and their general manager. Talked to Scotty Nickel for a while at the game. Wish him the best of luck, man. He's going to get an interview, and I hope he finds a way to make a good enough impression where he is able to land a GM job. But back to the Blues. Their power play hasn't been good. Their PK hasn't been good. They allow the most goals against, I think, in the NHL. If they don't allow the most in the NHL, it's the second most in the NHL. Goaltending's been inconsistent. They've had good stretches where Hofer's been really good. Binnington obviously hasn't been himself. I know people are talking about trading Jordan Binnington. In my opinion, it's too risky for a team to trade for Jordan Binnington unless he goes to the Four Nations and really stands on his head and shows that he can get his game back to where it needs to be. If you're going to trade for Jordan Binnington, you truly believe that he's the guy that can get you over the hump, and he's a guy that can help carry you deep into the playoffs. So you're a contending team. Well, if he's not playing well, you're not going to trade for him. Well, what would be the point in doing that? Then you have to carry his $6 million cap hit into next season, not knowing if he's going to truly be able to be the guy that you need him to be. So again, that's a risky trade unless he turns it on and has a great showing at the Olympics. Although we've seen in the past, when you trade for goaltenders, there's no guarantee that it's going to work out. There's adjustments that are required. You're playing with different defensemen. It's just, understanding tendencies, all of that. We saw that with Ryan Miller years ago. And just because you bring a capable or qualified goaltender into the mix in midseason, there's no guarantee that it's going to play out the way that you want it to or that it's going to work. So the Blues made a minor trade for Nick Bukestad. They get a conditional fourth. They get a prospect. I don't know how to read into Bordelot, the prospect. I know he was a former second-round pick. I don't know what the Blues' plans are for him, if he's truly part of the mix. We'll talk to Steve Ott on this edition of Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. We'll get his take on what he thinks about Bordelot, the prospect that they just got. And they do have some prospects in the organization. We all know that Dvorsky's here. We know that Stenberg is a guy that will be back, and he had to be sent back down, so he was eligible to play in the American League during the break. You've got the Jakob Stancils of the world. You've got the Uri Pekarsiks. These guys are all going to play. And then you get to Adam Urasek, and you get to Justin Carbonneau. Those are the top two prospects in the organization right now. Urasek, I think, is going to be here next year, and he's going to occupy a spot on the right side, and hopefully, right off the bat, show that he can adjust and transition to the National Hockey League and be a productive player. But just think if you're Alexander Steen in the Blues right now, where all of a sudden you could walk into the first overall pick, get this Gavin McKenna. I said you needed a guy. I think he would qualify as being a guy. He's more than a point-per-game player, just turned 18, as a freshman playing college hockey. which if you look at anybody who is playing college hockey who came from the CHL, go look at their numbers playing in the CHL versus their numbers playing at the NCAA level. It's completely different. If Gavin McKenna was playing in the Western Hockey League right now, he'd probably have about 100 points, and everyone would be calling him the next Connor Bedard. So it took a little bit of time for people to warm up to him because he wasn't putting up 3 points a night playing college hockey, and maybe didn't dominate the World Juniors at the level that people wanted him or expected him to, but he still had a very good tournament. You look at the numbers that he put up a lot of points. And so I think he still is the top prospect going. You've got Ivar Stenberg, who's Otto's younger brother. You got the defenseman from Canada. There's a collection of 3, but I think, and there's other players too. I mean, I've talked to a number of scouts over the course of the last week or so, really starting to dig in now on the upcoming NHL draft, and we'll be doing a lot of coverage on this show of the draft to make sure that you are prepared and you're familiar with the names that are out there. But the way it's being described to me is that it's top 10 heavy, and then it's just okay. There is no McDavid. There is no Crosby. There is no Celebrini at the top of the draft, although I say that with caution. Who knows? Maybe Gavin McKenna is going to end up being that guy. But the Blues need a guy. And so if you're worried about the Blues missing the playoffs right now, 6 months from now, we could be absolutely celebrating the fact that you're getting a franchise talent to walk into the organization when you least expected it, making the organization millions of dollars in, jerseys and ticket sales and all of that, merchandise, all of that. So I think better days are ahead. This is a great wake-up call, I think, for everyone, and to truly step back and see what you have, and next year's going to look really different, I think. And I'm not going to sit here and suggest that Robert Thomas isn't going to be here or Jordan Kyrou isn't going to be here. Kyrou, by the way, is playing incredible hockey right now. I know you don't want to hear that. People refuse to hear that. And trust me, I get the frustration. I don't understand why he can't play this way all the time, the way that he has the last 10 or 11 games, why he can't be that guy consistently. I don't know. But you ask guys like Kyrou and Thomas to basically carry the team and lead the team, and I'm not so sure that's who they are. They're better than complementary players, but are they truly superstars? No, I don't think they're superstars. But they're better than being complementary guys. I think Pavel Buchnevich is a complementary guy. Jake Neighbors is a complementary guy. These guys are all-star caliber players. And if you can get them to play consistently at the level and the effort that you're seeing from Jordan Kyrou right now, you're in pretty good shape. What's the point of moving him? I hope you get something better in return. He's making $8 million. He's not making 13, 14, 15 million. But all of a sudden, if you slot him down to where he's a second-line guy versus having to be the best guy on the ice or best player on your team every single night, and I know he's the highest-paid guy and all of that, but highest-paid guy amongst a bunch of guys making $6.5 million and $6 million and $8 million. Nobody's making $9, $10, $11, $12, $13, $14 million on this roster. Jordan Kyrou was drafted in the second round. He wasn't a top 10 pick, wasn't a top 5 pick. But when he's on his game and he's confident, he can look like the best player on the ice. People just get an opinion of players, and they can't change their opinion. Surround these guys with better players. Try to get some guys who can complement Kyrou, complement Thomas, and then all of a sudden I think you'll appreciate them a little more versus having them, be asked to be the best players every single night and carry your team deep into the playoffs and have a deep run. I'm just not so sure that's who they are. And there's not that many of those guys, to be honest with you. There's only a few select true elite superstars who can put a team on their back. And if you're not getting great goaltending, then it's nearly impossible to ask that of some of these guys. The Gavin McKenna situation is interesting. Listen, I'm not going to bring the frat boy breakdown that everybody wants to see and be like, hell yeah, I want this guy in the order. Now you got to draft him. Listen, if I had him rated as the top player in the draft on my board, If I'm an NHL team and have him rated as the number one player, this incident doesn't change that for me. But I also look at it a little bit of a different way. I also think that when you are a player in his position, you have to learn to be able to walk the other way sometimes. And I know it's your mom, and trust me, I hear everyone saying it. Somebody's chirping your mom, but this isn't the average kid. It's not you or I just walking around and some guy comes up to you and calls your mom whatever he called, whatever the insult was. This is a guy with a target on his back, the most popular guy on campus, coming off of an outdoor game where there were like 70,000 plus people at the most popular bar on campus. Where's the bouncers? If you're Gavin McKenna, you walk into that bar, where's the big 6'5" bald guy who says, hey, I got you. You need anything? Somebody's harassing you, anyone's bothering you, let me know. Just give a wink to the bouncer. He takes care of business. If you've got an entourage with you, a bunch of friends and teammates, and someone's messing with you and won't tell your boys, go take care of this guy. Get him out of here. Pick him up by the balls and get him out of the freaking bar. That's what you want from a bouncer and from your teammates and your friends. Don't leave it in the hands of the 18-year-old kid who's going to be the first overall pick in the NHL draft to go have to handle business. And now he's in a bunch of shit. I mean, honestly, this is not just going to go away. He broke the kid's jaw, and the kid was hospitalized. He's already making, what, $700,000 plus in NIL money. He's about to sign an NHL entry-level deal. He's going to have to pay out of his ass to pay this guy off. And I don't know what kind of suspension could be coming his way from Penn State or the Big Ten Conference or the NCAA. I don't know how all that works. But you can't be putting yourself in a jam. I know it sucks, dude. You're getting chirped. It's easy for me to say just to look the other way. I wasn't there. We haven't seen the video footage as of yet to know exactly what went down. But this kid's going to be getting chirped for the next 20 years playing in the National Hockey League, and you're going to have to find a way to walk away and not put yourself in a jam when you have that much to lose. So, yeah, it doesn't change my opinion of him as a player. I don't change my opinion of him as a person. I don't think he's a bad kid. And I would still draft him first overall, and I wouldn't have any hesitancy to bring him into the organization. But at the same time, like, what are you doing? Like, get your friends, get your boys, get the bouncer, get somebody to handle this guy that's heckling you and saying whatever he's saying to your mom. Don't put yourself in that spot. That's a tough spot to put yourself in. And now you got to deal with it. Not good if you're Gavin McKenna. I understand everybody's like, hell yeah, this guy's awesome. I get it. And I feel the same way. Like, yeah, I'm glad he knocked the guy out. He's talking shit about his mom. Knock him out. But when you're going to be the first overall pick and you've got everything to lose, and you're going to let some drunk dork from college get under your skin like that, you just got to find a way to have thicker skin, man. You're different. You're not like everyone else. You're different. You're above that kid specifically for sure. And above that situation, you can't put yourself in that type of jam. That's just my 2 cents, man. I don't hold it against him. I'm not going to judge him by it. He made a mistake. A costly one that's going to cost him a lot of money. But I get it. He's chirping his mom. But where's your friends? Where's your teammates? Where's the bouncer that you can have go help take care of business when you need it? So anyway, we'll see what happens now moving forward with everything else with the Blues. Listen, I do trust Doug Armstrong from this particular standpoint. He'll handle this situation the way he feels like he needs to handle it, and hopefully the Blues end up being in a better spot than they are now after we get through the trade deadline. The Braden Shen one is the most difficult one for me. Way more difficult than Robert Thomas or Jordan Kyrou, because we're talking about all-star players with those two guys. And so if you make a deal, something special is coming back the other way. But if you're going to get the first overall pick, you got to have some type of leadership inside the dressing room, some type of culture to pass down. You know what I mean? Like I talked to Jimmy Snugger. We had him on the show last week, and what did he say? He said Braden Shen is the best leader he's ever been around. Like, you got to have these guys around too. And I'll tell you this, Shen's in the best spot here in St. Louis versus going somewhere else. He gets power play time. He plays probably bigger minutes than what he would play if he was on a contending team that maybe had a little more depth in St. Louis. So, as bad as this season has sucked for Blues fans, and I ran into a lot of you after the game in Nashville, and we had some conversations. This could be a blessing in disguise if they're able to get a guy. The Blues need a guy. San Jose has a guy. Chicago has a guy. Edmonton has a guy. Colorado has a guy. New Jersey got a guy in Jack Hughes, although he's having injury issues. A lot of injuries around the NHL right now. With Braden Point now unable to go to the Olympics. And there's talk about guys being so banged up that they're going to shut it down after the Olympics. I don't know what to expect. There's so many injuries. I just don't know what to expect of the tournament. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to watch it. But so many guys are banged up. There's been so many games. The schedule's just been crazy. So, anyway, that's where it sits right now with the NHL and specifically the St. Louis Blues. I did like the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning fight last night. We'll get into that with Jamal Mayers, who joins us next. And then Steve Ott, obviously, coming your way. Hockey Sense brought to you by First Community. Check it out, firstcommunity.com. Blue Note Roofing, right behind me. David Novak, 314-920-5713. Hail and wind damage, you suffer any of that. Roofing, siding, gutters, soffit, fascia, let him come and give you that free estimate and take care of you. He'll talk pucks with you also. You know, David's pumped up about the Olympics, and he'll give you an opinion or two about the St. Louis Blues as well. Call them today, 314-920-5713. Dirt Cheap Fun, your one-stop party shop, baby. Download that app and do it today. Get that free delivery if you live within 10 miles of a Dirt Cheap location. Don't sleep on their party supplies or their paper goods. If you've got Valentine's Day parties, St. Patrick's Day parties, graduation parties after that, just around the corner, birthday parties. Get that special someone, something nice in terms of how you set up your party, and get it from our friends over there at Dirt Cheap Fun, they're your one-stop party shop. They got everything. Best selection of beer, wine, and booze as well. That walk-in beer cooler is amazing. They've got cigars. Check it out. The Wallace family. Nobody gets it done like the Wallace family. They get it done one dirt cheap at a time. Cheap, fun. Download that app. They've got so many great deals on the app. They call them steals. That's how good they are. Lordo's Diamonds. Get that special someone in your life, something special from Lordo's Diamonds. They got the best selection of engagement rings. Are you popping the question anytime soon? Get that engagement ring from Mike or Jimmy Lordo. You walk in with a $500,000 budget or a $500 budget. Guess what? You're going to get treated exactly the same. These guys give you the best customer service. They're amazing people. They have an amazing business that's been successful for 70 years. And it is successful because they stand on treating people with respect. I'll never go anywhere else to shop for the jewelry that I've purchased over the years. They are absolutely incredible. Right there in the heart of Ladue, 314-432-8008 for Lordo's Diamonds. LordosDiamonds.com, baby. All right, let's step aside. And when we come back, Jamal Mayers, lots to get into with Jammer. That's on the other side. Thanks for hanging out. It's Hockey Sense, live from Half Coast Studios. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Great to have you.
Wasn't there a time, was I in the studio and you were not in the studio?
Maybe once. I don't think that ever happened. I don't think you've ever come in here without me. Have you?
Yes. You were in a hotel.
Really?
Yeah, and you had your camera facing the wrong way.
No, you were in a hotel and I was in a hotel.
Okay.
I
thought I was here and you were.
No, you were in a hotel also. I think we were both on Zooms.
Just got to teach you how to face your camera. No one wants to see your bad butt.
Okay. Actually, I was, this past episode for Cam and Strick, I was in a hotel room. And the hotel we were at had a nice desk and everything, and I was able to have it facing the other way.
Perfect.
I might have been in Winnipeg.
You need to travel with an easel. You put your iPad on it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, there we go, man.
How are you enjoying the traveling?
I love it. Honestly, I absolutely love it. You know, it's been hard at times, like balancing the family life, but I love um, being with a team all the time and being in all the different buildings and seeing people from all over the league that or you don't get to see very often, and going to practice and
Good, good.
like, and I love hosting. That part of it too. Like Jamie and I have a great time. Bernie and I have a good time if he's on the road too. He's been fantastic. He's only done a couple of trips, but it's been great to be back in the mix. I've always gone on like maybe a trip or two, and when I first started doing television, I traveled that year. So it's been a while, and it was nice to be able to be home when my kids were really young, and I still have a 9-year-old at home and a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. So it's not easy. My wife's been a rock star. She's been unbelievable. So just trying to get through it, But I love the road.
I don't think you could say you love the road.
I just love traveling.
You enjoy it.
I'm enjoying it.
She said enjoy.
Some people I know have been doing this for like 30 years. I could see why after 30 years.
It wears on you, sure.
It could wear on you, and you miss a lot of stuff. And
well, that's great. You do a great job. So
I appreciate it. But I see people like who don't have kids at home and stuff like that. And I don't know why they wouldn't like it. You know what I mean?
Great point.
It's pretty easy travel, and if you love the game and you like being around the team, and then I don't know why you wouldn't enjoy it.
Yes.
Keep
telling those stories. I like it.
Yeah. So, did you see Kachuk and Kucherov go at it last night, and then now like and Forsling's fighting?
Forsling lost his mind.
He did. Well, the kid was like punching him, like he wanted to go, and like I don't think Forsling had any interest, and then he was like snapped. I like guys who snap.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Especially when you least expect it from them.
Dean McCammond.
Love Dean. He used to sing Christian music. Speaking of being on the road, Larry would let me travel that year, 05-06, and one of the trips he was sitting, the nicest guy ever. Did you play with him here?
Yeah, here.
Okay. And he was sitting behind me singing. He was like singing Christian music, and it's just like unbelievable. And Pronger, the social media influencer, is I remember he knocked him out during the Stanley Cup final, and it was a situation where Pronger was just twice his size, and McCannon, who could really skate, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just coming down the guts of the ice. And it reminded me about the situation recently with Tom Wilson and Stankoven from Carolina. And talking to people with the Department of Player Safety, they were kind of brought up the difference in size. I've never heard anyone ever actually admit that. And I'm glad that we're using that now as a guide in terms of whether you're going to hand out discipline, because if somebody's twice the size, it's kind of hard to not make contact with the head,
Yeah, I would add another layer in there, and where is the league in regard to predatory hits?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're trying to get away from that.
Yeah,
I think that would be probably the greater concern, is that was a player in a vulnerable position. It's within the rules, but it was, taking advantage of someone who wasn't looking, and all those elements. I think that
you talking about the Wilson hit?
Yes, I think some of that goes on Stankoven, certainly, but I think I wonder where we are as a league in regard to those type of predatory hits.
That was a massive hit.
Yeah, I loved it.
Did you?
That was a Dallas Drake type of hit.
It was. I could read you exactly what was said to me, but I mean, that's kind of the gist of it in terms of how the league reacted and why they didn't really react from a discipline standpoint.
Yeah, so. I think it's a really fine line they have to, because let's be honest, there is a certain amount of violence in our game that people tend to want to get away from.
Yeah.
It's also what makes the game unique, right? So it's really difficult. You don't want to strip away that part of it.
Right.
Because I think you're changing what NHL hockey is all about.
You've been watching San Jose a lot. I just kind of got on a soapbox about how, like, if you're really going to win in this league and be competitive for several years, you got to have a game changer, a guy. I call him a guy, right? You just got to have that guy. And he's meant everything. Like, you remove him from San Jose, what are they?
Oh, I went as far as to say, and I know other more important people in the game have started saying it on different venues, but I said that months ago that if they make the playoffs, he's the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
By the definition of how, MVP shouldn't be best player.
No.
You look at where his stat line is, 80-something points, and where the second player is almost a 40 plus
Really
point discrepancy.
Drop off, yeah.
It's not the same as McKinnon with Natchez, McDavid with Draisaitl, though the difference is massive. And you're talking about the importance of, to me, if they make the playoffs, which they've kind of fallen off a little bit, the Sharks have, like, to me, he's the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter that he's 19. Doesn't matter. Stop saying, well, he's going to find another way to get one. He's having that special season now at 19. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if they make the playoffs, he's the MVP.
Okay, and that's fair. So, I mean, he has been unbelievable, taking nothing away from, like, Will Smith, who, you're right, Celebrini has 81 points. Smith has 39. He's second on the team with 39 points. That is just crazy to me. And so Chicago, they can build off of, getting Connor Bedard. Does Chicago win all those Stanley Cups if it's just Taves and Seabrook and Keith? Like, if they don't have Patrick Kane, do they win all these cups?
No. Absolutely not.
Could they win if it was Kane, Seabrook, and Keith and no Taves?
Well, you have Hossa there, too. So, I mean,
I forget.
It's like everyone kind of Haas was a winger, but he was a center. Like,
just a dominating
drove the game
player.
and controlled the game, and so it's like it's hard not to mention for me Haas.
No, that's my bad.
No, it's all good.
Because I love Marian Hossa.
Yeah, it's all good. It's just they had a plethora of players. Yeah, but I think
everyone's saying Kane and Taves, you know what I mean?
But your point is valid, obviously. Like, Taser at his height was maximum 80 point guy, right? Like,
I think he only got to 80 points once.
So that's like his max. Like, I
think he got to 40 goals one time.
And that's what I thought Celebrini was going to be, which would be remarkable because he's so responsible defensively. Mm-hmm. But to think that he's all responsible defensively and will likely end up with over 120 points
guy
is just crazy.
It is crazy.
I never seen in 30 years a 19-year-old be that responsible defensively and still that effective on the offensive side.
And Matthew Schaefer, he looks like he's a guy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
These young guys are just...
Makar wasn't drafted first overall. It probably should have been.
They're unfazed. They're unfazed by what I'm supposed to be doing at this age. Mm-hmm.
What are you expecting at the Olympics? I mean, now Braden Point pulls out. Jack Hughes, you got questions about him with his injury on the USA side. You've had a number of other injuries. You have guys coming back from injury like Matthew Tkachuk, who hadn't played really all year, and he's trying to find his game. Like, Sorelli had to pull out for Canada. You have all these injuries on Sweden of guys who won't be making it over. Like what are we going to see here?
Everyone wants Canada-U.S. final, right? I think people are sleeping on Finland.
Who don't have Barkov.
Sleeping on Czech.
Yeah.
Like, and even Sweden for that matter. There's a lot of concerns, in my opinion, because I'll tell you right now, I'd want a Canada-U.S. final.
Yeah.
I just think it would be a shame if it's not. I'm not sure because of all those factors you mentioned that it's going to change. It could change, but that would be the ideal situation. And injuries are a part of it, and no one's going to look back and go, "Well, Canada lost because they had so and so hurt." They're going to say USA won the gold medal.
Yeah, and I hope Jordan Binnington just stands on his head and flips the switch and plays at the level that we've seen from him throughout most of his career.
I have every confidence he will.
Me too. I do too.
He's going to feel like he's got the proper type of insulation in front of him. I think that the confidence that John Cooper is he's so skilled at empowering his group, and he just brings this confidence. Very similar to, in my opinion, how we were in Chicago and how Joel was confidence-wise. You feel the confidence.
You were at the outdoor game. Did you like John Cooper's outfit? And
I love it for the game.
You do.
If I was on the opposite team, I would have not liked it. Like, did you know how that's?
I heard because
you know what I'm saying? How you are.
Players were telling me, like, I will say, and I didn't have a huge issue. He's walking off the ice with a cigar and stuff like that. Like, the game should be about the players. It's about the player. I mean, and that's what others are saying. So I'm just curious. Your opinion
I think it's great for the game. I think that the next day I saw it on ESPN, non-hockey related highlights, and things of that nature.
Oh, the game was fantastic.
You know, it felt like Gary called down and said, "Hey, whoa, 5-1, we're in Tampa. We got to fix this." And then boom, 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 power play. But
Oh my
it
God.
was unbelievable. It was freezing. Like, we left after the second.
You did?
Yeah, I'm with Harper and Natalie, and
It was
they
that
were
cold?
Oh, it was freezing. It was like 33 degrees.
Wow.
And a little bit windy too. So we weren't prepared for that. You're Tampa. You're thinking it's going to be unbelievable weather, but it was hockey weather. And
okay.
But yeah, we got back to the hotel to watch the third period. It was unbelievable and pretty cool the way it ended and unbelievable, like just the whole show.
Yeah,
they did a great job.
Okay, so
I like it.
I love it, and I've known Coop forever. Man.
I like it. I like it,
and I just it's him.
Yeah,
it's 100% him.
So I would just loved the parts I miss about playing is to not know he wore that. My hope is that he didn't wear it into the room until right before the game. So I hope he had two outfits. That's you should ask him that, because it would be cool if he came in, did the meeting, power play meeting,
and then he showed up wearing that.
And then before the game comes in, hey boys, let's go. Like, that would have been pretty cool.
Hey, all right, the Gavin McKenna situation. I got different ways to look at this, Jamal. I know everyone's kind of be like, yeah, this is awesome. I want him. And if I had him rated as the first overall pick, I still probably, this would not deter me from taking him first overall. Okay. But I do look at it and I say, you cannot put yourself in that situation when you have everything to lose. I know somebody's saying something about your mom, but it's some drunk college student, whatever. Where are your people? Where's your friends? Where's your teammates? You are just coming off of an outdoor game, 70,000 plus. You're the biggest face on campus. You're making over $700,000. You're at the most popular bar. Where's the bar? Where's the bouncer who's taking care of you all night long? And you say, hey, Vinny, get this guy out of here. You know what I'm saying? Where's that? Instead, okay, you stand up for your mom. Okay, that's admirable. We get it. But you're not like everybody else. You're different than everybody else. You have way more to lose. Now you just busted this kid's jaw. You're going to have to pay out the ass, obviously, from a legal standpoint to get yourself out of the legal trouble, let alone what you're going to have to pay to this guy to pay him off. It's just not a good situation. I hope it's so I know everyone's celebrating it like, hey, this guy. But at the same time, I'm like, whoa, I don't think it's great for Gavin McKenna.
No. I agree with you 100%. I think it's unfortunate, first of all, that he didn't have the support around him to anticipate those types of things to happen and get him out of there and be his personal security. That's just the level and also you wish that he would have just walked away and
don't let that guy get under your skin. Happen, He's going to be chirped for the next 20 years.
Right?
It's going to be way worse than that probably.
But where are the teammates? Where are the other people? Like,
where's the bouncer?
Getting him away from all of that.
The people that work there.
That guy should have been kicked out and gone. And, it's a learning experience for him. You have to remember he just turned 18.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Young guy. It's going to cost him a lot of money. Hopefully he has umbrella insurance.
What's umbrella insurance?
It's like a layer of protection so that if someone were to fall at your house, you have
really?
Extra insurance.
So this would qualify as umbrella insurance?
Yes.
So if you knock somebody out and break their jaw?
Yes. So
so I'm not labeling him or painting him with a brush like he's a bad kid. I'm not saying that at all.
No, I think the circumstances, I think the people will come to find out, is he was actually outside the bar and they continued out there. The guy kept going on and on and on. And apparently there's video of it. So But
we haven't seen the video yet,
no,
correct?
But I think that, no, we have not. But I think that what's going to end up happening is the legal stuff will go away. He will have to pay. And it will go away, but cost him a lot of money.
What do you think? Millions?
No, he doesn't have millions.
Okay, so
I think they know that his cousin is Bedard. I think they know he has resources. I think they're gonna try to drag it on until he gets signs. I think it's probably smart for him to expeditiously get rid of this as quickly as possible. Get that whatever that number is. I think it could be $1 million.
And again, to your point, we have not seen the video, so everything could change completely when you see the video. And maybe his boys did try to intervene or whatever. Did the guy put his hands on his mom? Did he punch him first? Was he in self-defense? Like that? Those are the things we just don't know yet.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I think it's a learning moment for this young player, and I think going forward, he's probably going to have security and change his behavior. And he's 18. He's a young guy who made a mistake and doesn't define him. And
No,
and
100%. I
hopefully
agree with
this
that.
goes away legally, because everyone knows how serious the gravity of the charges are. You can't, as a Canadian, can't travel or work or go to school in the United States with a felony. So hopefully it goes away.
Okay, so let me throw some stats at you real quick. I just want to get your take on this because the Blues are obviously struggling, and Matty DeFrank's my boy who covers the Blues for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. I mean, he had some good numbers, and this is all out there, and we've had this stuff on television, and we've mentioned a lot of this, but 16 losses by 3+ goals for the Blues. That's the most in the NHL. 17 losses when scoring first. I mean, that's just crazy. 17 losses when you score first. That's the most in the NHL. 4 wins when the other team scores first. So you're not coming from behind. They're 1-9 in overtime games, including shootouts, right? 2 losses when leading by 4 goals in a game. It happened at Detroit. They're up 4-0. They lose that game, which really got the Blues off the rails. I mean, you can talk about the home game against Chicago where they gave up 8, but I put that Detroit game in the same category. It was awful. I was there. Robert Thomas got a concussion in that game. Jake Neighbors broke his leg in that game. It was just a terrible, terrible outcome. 2 losses when leading by 3 goals and 5 losses when leading by 2 goals. So teams are coming back. They're never out of a game when the Blues have a lead. How should Blues fans read into those type of stats?
Well, not all of it can be on the goalies, right? I think a lot of the narrative to start the season was that both goaltenders had started poorly, and that regardless of the defensive system or structure or effort, that it wasn't making up for poor goaltending. I think that has kind of shifted, and now the light is being shone squarely on the defensive lapses, the defensive system, defensive awareness, commitment to defense. And I always say this, regardless of the system, right? Whether you're playing zone, whether you're playing man and a half or man on man, those are really the 3 options, swarm as well. But unless you're doing, not doesn't really matter what system you're playing. But if you're not committed to defending and you're not on the same page defending, then you're going to have trouble. And that's the most concerning part for me, is all those numbers that you mentioned land the Blues in second last in goal differential.
Yeah. And
third last in goals for.
And what are they goals against?
Second last in goals against.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't help that your PK and your power play are 25 and 29 respectively.
Exactly.
Like, to me, what's really most concerning is PK. Like, it just.
And the PK, if you break it down in segments, the last 10 games, Jamal, I mean, we're talking like 60% clip, something. It's not good.
I think it's probably the most fixable thing in your group as a team. Like, to me, it's something you can fix. And there's probably historical data that can show you this, but that's something as a team you can fix. Like, it's effort, it's being on the same page, it's understanding what the team is. It's a pre-scouting ability. What is the other team trying to do? How are we going to stop it? What are we willing to give them in combination with your goaltenders and allowing shots from certain areas? I just think there's a lot of defensive parts through their game that, it's hard for coaches, in my opinion, to change things midstream. But when the data tells you what it is, I think you have to change.
Yeah, and I like what they have from a youth standpoint. I mean, I think you can build around guys like Dvorsky and Snuggerud and Neighbors and Otto Stenberg and Urasek and Justin Carbonneau when he gets here and all these guys that they have. And listen, Kyrie's playing his best hockey of the season. He's been unbelievable the last 10, 11, 12 games. I don't know why he can't play like that all the time. But I also say you're asking these guys to carry a team. I don't think they're that level of player either. They're better than being complementary players. I said that earlier in the show. But they're not superstars either.
No.
They're all-star level players. And you bring in some real quality talent for them to play with, I think they'll flash on a more consistent basis. Same with Robert Thomas. I mean, these guys are really good players, but are they top tier in the league? Probably not. So you're asking them to be because they're your best players, yet I don't think the talent overall on the team is there for them to really give you what you need from them in terms of carrying the team and putting them in a playoff spot, unless you're getting elite level defensive play and goaltending,
Yes.
So that's just the way I look at it. And so, I mean, trading Robert Thomas and Jordan Kyrou, listen, I don't have a huge issue if they do that because that means they're getting something. You hope something special in return that's going to be able to. They're not just getting rid of them for a couple draft picks just to get rid of the salary. They're making $8 million. That's the highest paid player on the team, making $8 million. They're not making 11, 12, 13, 14 million like some of these other guys around the league. So they're not making crazy money. The cap's going up. So I don't have a problem if they stay either. I think if you're able to continue to build players around them.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think it's likely time to strip it down.
Yeah.
That may or may not. To me, it means one of the two have to go. Probably leaning toward Kyrou in that respect. But I think you're bang on. I think that I don't even know if retooling is an option.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think this has to be stripped down to the studs.
Okay.
I think that you've got enough data for you. It's 57 games.
Yeah.
Of information,
mm-hmm.
right? It's not like you're 25 games waiting for it to fix. It's 57 games of information. And too many times you hear fans, and rightfully so, but they're always looking at, 2019, we were this way in this place on January 1st. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's never happening again.
All right, Steve Ott's ready, so we're going to go ahead and get to him. Obviously, I want to get to him. And but tell us who brings you to Hockey Sense each and every week, Jammer.
Yeah, absolutely. Barlino's is one of them. 5 restaurants: Barlino South, Barlino's Osteria, Chris's Pancake and Dining, Chris at the Dock Inn, Barlino's Twin Oaks. Forged many lasting relationships with their customers. Their family model: cook good food, serve plenty. 50+ years in business. Only 2 places to dine: at home or at one of Barlino's family of restaurants.
And Dobbs Tires and Auto Centers, baby.
Oh yeah, you know them. Especially with that snowstorm coming around. I hope you got in there, got your tires fixed. Got your rims fixed from, bumping into things that happens time and time again. But locally owned, family owned, great people will take care of you, and they'll diagnose your car. It doesn't matter what it is, not just tires. Every type of issue you're having with your vehicle, Dobbs is trusted. They're honest. They'll get you in, up, fixed, and out the same day. Go to Dobbs.com for more. And then Spas and More. Local spa dealer with 2 locations, Sunset Hills, Missouri, and Overland Park. Mike Leahy's the owner of Spas and More. Spas and More is a hot tub. Master Spas is an American hot tub and swim spa manufacturer in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They're the largest hot tub and swim spa manufacturer in the U.S. They have those chili goat tubs. Can't wait to get mine. You're going to want to get one too. I know you're trying to weasel in there.
We're going to get one.
Angie Hess, Mike's daughter, runs the Sunset Hills location. Spas and More offers their quality hot tubs, swim spas, cold tubs, infrared saunas for all of your health and wellness and relaxation needs. Turn your backyard into the oasis of your dreams with a master spas from Spas and More. Spas and More are located at 12957 Gravois Road in Sunset Hills, where we put the in spa. And they're doing a giveaway. They're doing something with the sauces thing, some signings.
Oh, nice.
Oh, check it out online. I know our buddies that have that thing going there. They're helping them get going and sponsoring them, doing some signings. So, and I think Rivs just got engaged, so they're all excited.
Oh my God, I know. Is that official?
It's official.
It's supposed to be on Thursday, so I guess it just.
It's official, bud.
All right, great stuff, Jamal. We'll see you next week.
All right.
During the break. All right, Steve Ott is next. Don't go anywhere. You never know who we're going to find here on Hockey Sense. The one and only Steve Ott, head coach Steve Ott, joins us now. Otter, great to see you, man. And thanks for doing this. I know it's game day and the schedule's kind of crazy. It's different in the American League and obviously now with the NHL being on break. How you doing, man? Tell us how everything's going for you.
Thanks, Ricky. First of all, things are going well. It's a great opportunity to obviously see our top brand prospects and a lot of our prospects down here, kind of implement your own system, get to know all the trainers, the coaching staff, all those things in the last couple of weeks. It's gone well. On ice is continuing to get better. So there's a lot of good things that are, that you feel good about.
All right. So what should we know about the American League? Because I didn't even look at I should have hockey DB'd you before the show. But I want to say you played a little bit in the American League. But once you got to the NHL, you were there to stay for the most part. I don't think you ever went back down, maybe during the lockout or something. But you played in the NHL for so long, you're almost detached from what goes on in the American League. I've talked to other guys like that. Like when Scott Mellenby retired and all of a sudden he started working, like he had never seen an American League game. But then you come to appreciate that level as well. So what should we know about the American League, and what have you learned about the league after being so far removed from it for so many years?
Well, you're right. I mean, it's been 20 plus years at least. I think it was the lockout year was the last time I was in there after playing a couple years in the NHL, just being in my third year of the entry level. So you had to go down to the minors that year. In a little bit different scenario, that division, it was actually a lot of flying. I remember Edmonton and St. John's. There was areas we had to fly to in our division. But to be honest with you, coming down here, it is different. It's a place where you have to earn your stripes every single day to get back up to the NHL one day. And that's something that, you're grinding on the bus. You're grinding in these, areas that aren't as high class as say the NHL life. And those are the things that make you really appreciate the NHL.
All right. So I know you've had opportunities in the past to coach in the American League. What was different about this one? And do you feel like the timing is right for where you and your family are today versus maybe when some of those other opportunities presented themselves in the past?
For sure. I think I would say the last 10 years of coaching, I've never really taken an opportunity for myself. Yes, I was lucky enough to get some, head coaching interviews in the league and, offers in the American League or whatnot for years now. But St. Louis is home. I absolutely love St. Louis. The way that I've been treated there through the organization from Mr. Stillman and, Doug Armstrong down has been nothing but first class for myself and my family. And that's always made it hard to leave to do those opportunities. And truthfully, the players that I've worked with over those years, I'm proud to see them, how they've developed. If it's, your Robert Thomases or Jake Neighbors, and even the veterans from Schenner and Flack and Benner and Parayko, I can go down the list of guys that, you put so much work into that it makes it tough to leave. But at the same time, I think the timing was right. We, obviously took this opportunity, personally, and it's an opportunity now. I think my family's ready. Kids are older, areas where, again, it's time to grow.
So real quick, and then we're going to move on. So the night in Edmonton, like after the game, this caught everybody off guard, right? I mean, including yourself, right? So how was it presented to you, and how long did it take you to make a decision?
Well, quickly, we had a tough night in Edmonton that night. I think we lost five Cobb, and on the way back to the hotel that's joined to the ranked army, wanted to have a chat. So he presented this as an option, and had my head spinning right away. First off, I didn't want to feel like I'm jumping ship or off the ship that we helped build there, and that weighs on your heart right away. I think that you never want to let down your teammates, your coaching staff, whatnot, and that's what right away my thoughts went to that. And then I said, Army, I got to talk to my wife and family. Where are they at? I called my wife. And Army and myself were planning to meet for coffee in the morning and give a night on it and just some thoughts, and talked to my wife, and she said, she was right on board. It's a great opportunity. She's I'll lock down everything at home. Don't worry about us and the kids for, the next few months at least. And we'll continue as a family to be a team that way. And I ended up calling Army right after that call and said, I won't be able to sleep tonight. So I'm all in. Not only, after talking with him, to stay in our organization is what meant the most. Working with Kasky and Otto Stenbergs, and now obviously the other, prospects that are down here right now. I'm in the right organization, and that's the biggest thing for me is The loyalty within is now working for the Blues organization, but down for the Thunderbirds. So I just thought it was an outstanding opportunity for all reasons of that.
Yeah, I talked to Matt Luff when he was up here. I mean, he was like up and down. He just kind of had a crazy travel situation when he was here because of the uncertainty with the Blues roster with injuries and whatnot. But I mean, he was so complimentary of you. Like he had a big smile on his face, like just in terms of the impact that you've had on the team already, Otter. So I don't think anybody's surprised to see that. You played so long in the NHL. Like, where do you subscribe to the idea that you got to be a head coach to be a head coach? Because I'm sure some players who go into retirement and be like, I don't need to go down to the American League to coach in the NHL. I've been in the league for 20 years, whatever. I played 1,000 games. But then now when you're running your own bench and you're running your own show, and like it's got to be different for you, right? You're not with the extra guys on the ice afterwards. You're delegating now, right? So do you feel like this experience is truly what you needed if you want to be a head coach in the NHL, which I know you do one day?
I do. I think anything in life, I've had to earn everything I've ever had. So I take that mentality when I come down here for this opportunity. And what I absolutely love is the managing of people. You know, you're managing training staff, you're managing your own coaches, and you're right, you're delegating certain scenarios. And that's an area where you don't do as an assistant or associate coach. You know, it's for example, you know, working with Chief and Monty and, you know, Benny and whatnot, those are the head guy. It's his job to do those. And this is an area where I've had to learn in the last couple of weeks, with all that great experience that I've had from these coaches that were mentors to me. It's been pretty seamless. And it's something, again, if I was to do it on my third year, I wouldn't have been nearly as prepared as I am right now. So taking over, you know, those now over all the years of experience, I just think it's the right fit right now, and it's become natural.
Yeah. And you're such a popular guy, Otter. I mean, I can only imagine how many people reached out to you. And even people I see around the league that just being at the rink, like it's one of the first questions they ask. You know, I was talking to DJ Smith the other day. He's like, hey, how's Otter doing? You know, it's like everyone's always like, you know, they have you on their mind, and obviously so happy for this opportunity for you. So what was it like that first day or the first couple of days? Like how many people were reaching out to you, Otter, especially after you got your first win too?
Oh yeah, you know what? Thankful for obviously how many, you know, friends and acquaintances you make in our game. It's one big family, is, you know, hockey world, and I think you know that from minor hockey all the way up to the big leagues, and, you know, countless coaches reaching out to me throughout the league, and you know, excited, you know, for yourself, for the respect to get this opportunity. And a lot of those guys went through similar situations where they had to, you know, if, for example, John Cooper or whatnot, guys that have started in the minors to get to the NHL to have success. And that's the path. Again, it's earned. And, you know, for myself, you know, to have that support backing from minor hockey people, families, friends, all that stuff, it's special, because you know that they want the best interest for you and to have success as well.
Yeah. Well, any head coach in the league, I mean, they'd hire you as an assistant, right? So this is the path you probably needed to take. I'm curious from a patient standpoint. You've been in the NHL for so long as a player and a coach. How patient do you have to be with understanding, hey, this guy, he may not see the game or see a play the same way that Ryan O'Reilly might, or Braden Shen might, or a Thomas or a Kyrie, one of those guys. And you got to be a little patient, because you're coaching guys that, you know, some guys that will never see the National Hockey League.
Well, the patience is part of the process, right? But one thing I want to really, you know, talk about right now is coaching the game. You know, a lot of these guys have tremendous skill, but it's, you know, line changes, puck management, you know, supporting pucks, how to close out on defensive side, awareness. So there's so many little aspects of the game, I think, that doesn't get talked about enough, or you expect guys to just know. And they're all learning skills within the game. And that's really here what I really want to focus on with our prospects, and, you know, continue to teach even some of the veteran guys that have been here a long time, is how important little details in our game are for you to be able to use your skill level, to use, you know, your speed, to be able to get these shot opportunities and scoring chances. Is how does it all kind of build within? So, you know, that's a focus of mine right now, is teaching, you know, a lot of those small areas of the game.
Hey, anything different about the American League versus the NHL in terms of, from a coaching standpoint? Like, can you challenge specific plays? Can you review certain situations? Are high sticking double minors reviewable? Like, I mean, have you had to like learn some things in terms of maybe some differences down there versus the National League?
Yeah, it is quite different. There is no goalie challenge, so that's one of them. For example, puck got shot out in a 4-3 game over the glass, and all four refs obviously missed it, and it's not a reviewable. And those areas, offsides, or you can't review offsides. So, and you're dealing with a lot of young referees that are turning, trying to learn and develop as well down here. So, you can't have to be popping off too much about it, because they're part of their development as refs as well. So they're trying to continue to get better. So again, it is a true development league. You've kind of seen it change over the years, or things I was aware of, but coming in here is learning those type of rules that I was unaware of, to be honest with you. But again, it's been seamless.
All right, so have you had practice time? Like, are you able to like kind of implement what you want? Like, what's the first thing you felt like you needed to change?
Well, first thing is, there is a lot of practice time here. You have, for example, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Monday in 4 days, and then you play, for example, 3 and 3. So it's managing what you want structurally, developing big guys, again, practices, and then 3 and 3, and managing rest off that as well. So, it's a little bit different than the every other day of the NHL. But it's great to teach the game and structure. So practices, I think, are very important. Coming down here, I honestly focused mainly about our tracking principles, coming into D zone coverage, and then changing the details of our D zone coverage up. And basically, my mindset has been, we defend first, and if we defend really well, we'll be able to work on the transition side of the game and whatnot. We were pretty leaky out of stats down here and analytics, and areas that I really wanted to focus on to clean up.
All right, so what's the balance in the American League of developing versus winning? Because I know how competitive you are, Otter. Is it about winning? You want to win every game, don't you? But you also want to develop, and you may be having young prospects who the Blues need you to develop that are going to be here one day. Maybe they're getting opportunities to play on the power play or be in specific situations where maybe an older veteran guy could help the team maybe win for that specific night, but you're trying to develop. How's that balance? Have you learned that already?
Well, yeah, I have. Absolutely. I mean, I think all players are going through different spots in their development right now. If you take a guy like Otto Stenberg that just came back from the NHL, that's played really good hockey up in for the Blues, I want to put him in more offensive scenarios that maybe he doesn't get in the NHL. So when he does get that time, he has the confidence and minutes to really kind of grow his game. Same with Kaskamaki and Theo Lindstein down here on the back end. You want to put them in situations where they develop and they learn. And at times it might cost you a goal against, or it might cost you, a tough power play. But for the betterment of them, they continue to grow. We have other prospects, for example, Pekarsik and Stansfield, that are learning that it's a big step to come over here in their first year, and trying to manage them and get them in important minutes and also play the game. But also part of their development sometimes is finding their intensity in the game, and they might have to miss a game to get back in, so they never come back out. So depending on where everybody's level is, it's part of the development, and I'm very cognizant of that. I want to serve, obviously, the Blues organization, so that when we get call-ups or there's players that are ready, that they never come back again.
So like a Stansel and Pekarsik specifically, because like both big bodies, when they turn pro, I mean, they had such great careers prior to turning pro. Like, you fully expect them to eventually get here to the National Hockey League. How much should we look at their stats? Like, our stats only tell part of the story, right? When it comes to developing, in terms of, how you need them to play and how they have to play to get to the next level.
No, absolutely. Stats are tricky down here, because it's, the veterans that take up some ice time and play in scenarios. So it's helping fitting them in, and it's a hard league. This is not an easy league down here. It's very competitive. It's hard to play against hockey. very physical down here as well. So that adjustment for a young player is going to take some time, no matter their size, but it's learning how to use their size down here. How are they going to be effective? How does it translate to a pro hockey game from some of the juniors or whatnot? So again, there's a lot, it's the constant teaching and the development process. Yes, is far more probably the most important thing in my eyes, but there's a way to do it where you can have winning success by having, strong structural hockey and predictability within it. So that way these guys continue to grow, and your veterans that are down here have the opportunity and they feel utilized as well. So it's a constant battle with it all, but it's fun to figure all that out. And there's rules in place, veteran rules of how many you can dress or whatnot, and what you need, that the buy-in from the vets to help these young players develop and grow as well, as they were in that scenario one day as well.
All right, so Stancil, Pekarsik, Michael Bushinger. I mean, these guys, you mentioned Kaskimaki, but we've seen him in the NHL in Stenberg. Are you able to establish a relationship with these guys during NHL training camp? I mean, they've all played some preseason games, or are you just kind of doing that now, or do you feel like you've already had a head start on that?
I think I've had a head start, to be honest with you. I kind of treat all the guys in training camp like they're NHL. And it's at the end of the day, if they end up sticking or they go back down, I want them to feel that they've been served or helped or whatnot in their own areas of the game. And to be honest with you, it's part of my respect level. I think anybody that gets to be a pro hockey player, it takes a heck of a grind, and it starts with a lot of hours on that ice. And my mindset is you're always constantly serving. So with saying that, when you come down and in this scenario, walking into that dressing room, seeing the familiarity of all the faces, and knowing a lot of the guys I've already worked with in the past, it was pretty seamless.
Did he have a penalty shot the other night? Did I read that right?
He did, and he buried himself. Nice one for sure. And he's taken leaps of his game for the last 6. I've been very impressed with him. And another one is Quentin Burns. He only had one AHL game prior to coming. I could see his intensity within practice, and high-end character kid. And he's played the last 6, and he's a physical Blues type defenseman. So there's another one that's developing here as well.
Yeah, I like hearing that. Both OHL guys, and Quentin Burns, he fights. He's had some injuries where maybe he didn't participate in prospect camp and stuff like that down here a couple of times. So we haven't seen him a ton, but he was one of the final cuts for the World Junior team, I believe. This guy brings a lot to the table. I like hearing that. I feel like he'd be your type of guy too, Otter. You know what I mean?
He's hard to play against, and he's only going to fill out. And he's mean. Again, he was a captain and junior, and you can see his leadership qualities for a 20-year-old, and that's pretty impressive to say. Again, though, his development is a daily, ongoing process.
Yeah. What about a guy like Dylan Peterson, Pekarsik, Stancil, those guys? I know we mentioned those guys, but do you like what you're seeing from them? They have a long way to go, or do you feel like, hey, listen, these guys are on the right path?
I think they're all on the right path. Petey's another great example. You're right. He's a head down north hard hockey player and goes to the hard areas. And you think of a guy like, we developed with Torpachenko. He plays a similar game to that where, he's a power forward, and those power forwards make your lineup bigger. He's tough. He's into the hard areas, like I said. And, there's areas of the game, the wall work that he's continuing to get better on, that will help one day hopefully translate. And those are the type of, the blue collar players that take a big step, and they're a big part of your pro lineup every single night as well.
All right, last thing. And Stenberg and Kaskimaki, what are your assistant coach telling you that they're bringing to the table now after their NHL call-up? Because obviously you weren't in the American League watching them play every day, but you saw them in the NHL. And I'm just curious if they're playing with a completely different level of confidence after being up here.
Well, to be honest, I wanted to form my own opinions. I didn't want to, ask guys prior to being here. I just didn't think that's a fair assessment to kind of go off other people's opinions on certain players. So I wanted to almost have a fresh start for every guy, having a good season or not. We're building something, and I wanted to form my own opinions. What really shocking is not shocking. I didn't know that it was high-end as Kaskimaki's playmaking ability. He's got some high-end deception passes that I didn't get to see in the NHL level, just simply because he wasn't ready to have that opportunity every single night, or not put in that scenario every single night. And down here, he's in this scenario where he can show more of an offensive side, and to see his deception off his passing, his work ethic, and 200-foot game playing, 18, 19 minutes a night, you see a really strong pro.
All right, I love hearing that. Anybody that you really weren't familiar with at all that maybe is like, hey, this is somebody to pay attention to? I mean, most of the names we know, we've kind of gone over a bunch of them. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting somebody.
Yeah, I would say, the Pekkas, the Gangs, the Luffs. I mean, I've worked with all these guys over the years. Rosen, another one down here. The goalies they're new for me. I never really pick starts or whatnot with the goalie coach, and that's an area where part of the development too, because obviously we have the third and fourth goalie that are down here in the pecking order, so it's important that they develop just as much as any forward or D-man. I think Gaudette, we just lost him to injury, but there's a player there who's impressed me off the get-go. Unfortunately, injury is going to be out for a couple of weeks, but he's a player there that, again, he's on the development path. So been very happy with the buy-in with the team. We're trying to transition into hopefully a playoff team by the end of this all. But in doing so, we want to be very process driven, where we continue to take steps. And so far out of the gate, we're 500, 3-3.
Yeah.
I've really liked how we played. We had one game, I think we lost 1-0 and outshot them 40-20 or so, and had countless scoring opportunities. It just was one of those games that we didn't get a break. So there's areas that I absolutely love to see this structure, but again, we have to take a step as a team to be on the right side of victory.
Well, I can see it, because I mean, just looking at the scores prior to you getting there, I mean, and the goals against that you guys were giving up, you're losing games right now 1-0, like low scoring games. So defensively, is that the first thing you focus on, is trying to take care of business in your own end as a head coach? Is that the first order of business you try to correct?
That was, and that's the detail to the transition the other way is something we got to build here after the All-Star break, and put a lot of time and effort in that. Defensive structure continues to tighten up every single day. The guys have been detailed. And again, they have the awareness now of our relentless game. If we want to play aggressively north, that what's important is making sure we're defending properly as well. So it's constantly selling the right things to do out there, and trying to play winning hockey versus hoping losing hockey.
All right, I love it. So no Olympic break, but you guys play 3-3s? Like how does it work? I mean, is it always 3-3s, or sometimes it's not? Like you had a Wednesday game this week, which doesn't always happen.
Yeah, we're on the road right now. We have Rochester tonight. We go and have an afternoon game against Toronto tomorrow. And then we have an all-star break down here for about 4 days, and we have 2 road games in Iowa. Then the back end of the schedule, a ton of home games, and we have 1 3-3 left at the second week, end of the season, second last week. So 3-3s are tough. That's a grind for any athlete. Staying sharp and focused and playing when you're tired. Fortunately, I've only had 1 so far here. They whacked out a lot of them early on in the season.
All right, keep doing your thing, man. And we're all pulling for you down here. And hopefully we can do this again, Otter, a couple times throughout the course of the year. I know people love hearing from the prospects, and it's great to have a familiar name and somebody who's so connected to St. Louis now as the head coach down there as well. So all the best to you, man. I'm so happy for you.
Well, for sure, Stricky. I appreciate all the support. And again, to be in our organization, the St. Louis Blues family, is extremely important to myself and my family as well.
All right. Good luck tonight. Go get a win.
You bet. Thanks, my man.
All right. Thanks, Otter. All right, so that was Steve Ott. Great conversation. Hope you enjoyed that. And listen, I really am happy for him, because I do believe that this guy's going to be a head coach in the NHL. And this is the best path for him to get there. Sometimes it takes some time for you to really, truly understand that. And plus, all the experience that he's gotten the last 9 years as an assistant coach down here, I think has helped prepare him to be a head coach. Like, he's turned down head coaching opportunities in the American League, but maybe he really wasn't even ready for those at the time, but he's certainly ready now. And hopefully he can continue to have some success and put his own fingerprints on the prospect pool before he ends up back in the National Hockey League, which he won't be down there very long. But great opportunity. And listen, I applaud Doug Armstrong too. for saying, hey, listen, giving your guy the opportunity. I know some people looked at it like it's a demotion because they see NHL, they see American Hockey League, but I never looked at it like that. I think this is a great opportunity for him, and I think it's like an investment. You're making an investment towards your future if you want to be a coach. I always use the example of John Cooper. I know we talked about it on the Cam and Strick podcast, but I remember having a conversation with him years ago when he was coaching Tier 2 here in St. Louis, Tier 2 Junior A with the St. Louis Bandits, and he had an opportunity to go coach Tier 1 in the USHL. But you get really comfortable being in a big city like this. He had a lot of relationships with a number of people with the NHL team. And it's hard to walk away from that. But if you want to be a coach, then you got to go coach. And you got to continue to move up the ladder. And now John Cooper is headed to the Hockey Hall of Fame. He's the head coach of the Canadian national team. And it's the same situation from Steve Ott. He may have gone from an NHL bench to an American League bench, but he's climbing the ladder if you truly understand the business in terms of him becoming a head coach in the NHL one day, which I can tell you is the ultimate goal for him. All right. First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week. Sign your son or daughter up today for the Little Blues program. It's the best program going. It's the best way to introduce them to the game of ice hockey. And it comes with all your equipment. Are you kidding me? That's unbelievable stuff right there. Comes with everything, including skates, so you don't have to go to the hockey shop and have no idea what you're looking to buy. You got to buy everything. No, you don't have to do that with Little Blues. Go to firstcommunity.com to learn more. You can always go to the Blues website as well. Sign your son or daughter up for Little Blues and do it today. First Community brings us Hockey Sense each and every week. Blue Note Roofing, call David Novak, 314-920-5713. Get that free estimate. You know he's out working and grinding today. David Novak with Blue Note Roofing. Soffit, gutters, siding, roofing, soffit fascia. All of it. Lordo's Diamonds. Get that special someone, something special in your life from Lordo's Diamonds. Say hi to Mike and Jimmy Lordo. Stop in today, right there in the heart of Ladue. Can't miss it. Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. Find the location nearest you and do it today. Download that app, get free delivery. So many great deals, they call them steals. With Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. Kirkwood Fence, Frontenac Detailing. All our great sponsors, man, to help us get on and off here live from the Half Coast Studios here on Hockey Sense. We thank Steve Ott for joining us. We thank Jamal Mayers for coming in. And we're going to have some great shows for you throughout the Olympic break. Enjoy the Olympics coming up. We'll see what happens between now and the trade deadline. But I've got confidence that the Blues are going to make the right decisions. This is not going to be a long-term situation. You know, listen, sometimes missing the playoffs, sometimes having a reset season is not a bad thing. And I get the frustration. I'm not going to tell fans how they should act or that they shouldn't be upset because the expectations were higher. That's why this season has been so disappointing. And you look at it from a historical standpoint, you're not going to find too many more seasons in Blues history that are more disappointing than this one because the expectations were high based off of how the team finished last year. New coach, and nothing had really changed. Yeah, some bodies come in and out, but for the most part, it was the same roster. They've dealt with some injuries, but this season obviously hasn't gone the way that you wanted. The good news is you have the opportunity to bring in a really high-end, talented player into the organization. And I don't think anybody saw that coming when you entered the year. I thought this was going to be a season where the Blues are competing for a top 3 spot in the division, not just to make the playoffs. But could you imagine if you add a Gavin McKenna to the St. Louis Blues? Or an Ivar Stenberg to the St. Louis Blues? I'm just saying. It's very possible. What would you rather have? McKenna, Stenberg, or another couple of victories and miss the playoffs, and then draft in the late teens, early 20s. That doesn't move you forward. So the short-term pain can lead to long-term gain. And this isn't a situation like Detroit, who had to miss the playoffs for years and years and years before they got competitive. Buffalo, 15 years, finally figuring it out. San Jose, all those bad teams after having so many great teams. For a lot of similarities between San Jose with all those great teams they had and the Blues. The difference is the Blues got over the hump. Although San Jose made it to a Stanley Cup final, they just couldn't win it. But the Blues got a cup, and they sustained greatness and success for so long. Now you got to take a step back. Look at the Florida Panthers. All these teams. Now the Blues have an opportunity to go get a guy. San Jose, they went out and got a guy. Chicago went out and got a guy. Colorado has a couple of guys. Buffalo has a guy. They got a couple of them. Tage Thompson's got 30 goals. But, Rasmus Dahlin, they got him first overall. And obviously, they got Owen Powers first overall too. But Dahlin is a special player. They moved on from a lot of guys. But they were so bad for so long. I hate to even use Buffalo as a comparison because you don't ever want to beat Buffalo. There's no excuse for missing the playoffs 15 years in a row. That's embarrassing. But Colorado got a guy. Edmonton got a guy. Although Edmonton had 4 first overall picks, that's embarrassing too. I hate to even talk about some of these other organizations, man. But you know what I'm saying? You got to have a superstar. Pittsburgh got a superstar. They got a couple superstars. Pittsburgh drafted Crosby first overall, Malkin second overall, Marc-Andre Fleury third overall. It's like crazy. So we'll see what happens between now and the middle of April, and then where the Blues are drafting, and then you get into the draft lottery. Could you imagine the excitement if the Blues had the first overall pick, headed to Buffalo for the NHL draft? I'm just saying. This has been Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. For Aiden, everybody here at Half Coast Studios, Jamal Mayers, Steve Ott, I'm Andy Strickland, reminding you to keep your head up and your stick on the ice. We'll do it again next Friday, every Friday, right here on Hockey Sense. Have a great weekend, St. Louis.